This is a good question. And we are live. What is going on? How are you doing? In case you don't know who I am, my name is Bennett Luke. I'm an online fitness coach and just a chill guy. I live in San Diego. I like to run. I like to lift weights. I care a lot about my health, and I try to help other people live healthier lives as well. So I posted a Q&A on my Instagram. If you're not following me there, check it out at Bennett__Luke. My first name is Bennett. A lot of people think my first name is Luke. I just have two first names. It's kind of backwards, but my name is Bennett. Anyways, I posted a Q&A on my Instagram story, and I got a ton of responses, so I'm going to go through and just answer as many as I can, keep it as raw as possible. And without further ado, let's just get into it. So first, what are the benefits of a cold shower? So I take a cold shower every single morning. For me, the main benefit of it is just waking up, getting my blood flowing, and like boosting my alertness. There's also, for me, like a factor of the mental resiliency in terms of taking a cold shower every single morning, because I don't want to do that, but it's not going to kill me. It's not going to hurt me. And so just like starting my day off by doing something I don't want to do makes the things later in the day that I don't want to do that much easier. There's a lot more like chemical stuff that's probably going on. That's not my expertise, so I won't dive into that. I would say just Google it. But you're gonna get more of that from an ice bath than from a cold shower. So I do ice baths. I do ice baths like once to twice a week. Just helps with overall recovery and reducing inflammation. So that is why I take cold showers, and I recommend everybody else do the same. Next question, what is the most extreme physical or mental challenge you want to accomplish in your life? For physical, I would say like bucket list item is to go climb Mount Everest. I don't know at what point in my life I'll do that, but that seems kind of up there. I've always wanted to do that since I was younger. I'm doing a 50-mile race in like 2 or 3 months. That'll definitely be challenging. At some point, I'll probably do 100 miles, not anytime soon, but that'll definitely be like physically and mentally challenging. Biggest mental challenge, I don't really know what that looks like. I would say maybe like being a dad. I think being a dad is very mentally challenging, but also very rewarding. I have a couple nieces and nephews, and being around them is incredible. It also tests your patience. It makes you relive a lot of memories from when you were a kid as well. So I would say being a dad. How did you get started in online coaching and tips to do the same? So I guess a little bit of background, when I graduated college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I got introduced to sales. So I started doing door-to-door sales. I did pest control for 1 summer in Austin, Texas. And then I did 4 years of solar sales. I ended up like building up a team. I had at its peak, probably like 70 guys that I was managing, in a couple of different offices in Florida. I was living all throughout Florida. And that was really great. It was really fulfilling being able to help guys make a lot of money, boost their confidence, increase a skill set. But for me, it wasn't fully fulfilling. I knew it's like not what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And I've always been really into just health and wellness. And once I got introduced to biohacking, I thought that was pretty cool. So I just started kind of leaning more into that. And eventually got to the point at my last job where there was kind of like a fork in the road, and I was like, I can either keep on doing this and keep on just trying to make as much money as possible, or I can go chase something that is extra fulfilling to me. And ultimately, after a long time, almost 2 years of deciding whether or not to quit my job, I finally quit my job, and I didn't have that much of a plan. And I was kind of against fitness coaching for a while until I found my coach that I'm working with now, who teaches people exactly how to do online fitness coaching, how to build solid programs that share your experience and things that have helped you personally in your own health and wellness journey to help other people level up their health and wellness. So for me, it was hiring a coach. His name's John Mark Stevenson. You can look him up on Instagram or YouTube. He taught me like everything I know. I still work with him to this day. So I would highly advise hiring a coach because they're going to show you all the landmines to avoid and just save you a ton of time. So there wasn't like anything special. I just paid someone to teach me how to do it and then followed everything that he said. Next question, how do you train legs and run? So I only do a 3-day split. I do a upper body, lower body, upper body. So I'm only lifting 3 days a week. And then when I'm training for races, I typically run like 5 days a week. So I only lift legs once a week when I'm doing that. And it's going to be more specific to the individual as far as where your weak points are. For me, my hamstrings are weaker than every other muscle. So I do a lot of hamstring focused stuff, but I like to work on explosiveness and then overall strength. So I do a lot of squats, lunges, RDLs, like Romanian deadlifts, split squats, leg press. I do some calf work as well. But overall, you're just going to want to increase your strength because especially for longer runs, you're going to need that leg strength later in the run. And I neglected training legs while I was doing my first marathon, and I didn't do that my second marathon. I really focused on strength training my legs, and it made all of the difference. I literally cut off like 30 minutes of my marathon time, and I credit a lot of that to the way I was training my legs. So definitely don't neglect training your legs, but figure out what you're weak in, double down on that, but then overall just train the rest of your legs as well. What do I think of vegetarians? To each their own. Whatever you find works for you, that's awesome. I think being a vegetarian is very difficult, and if it works for you, great. I just think that it's not the best route to take. If you're doing it for like personal reasons or like spiritual reasons, like you don't want to hurt animals, I get that, but it's just not me. What does a meal prep of your week look like? I don't really meal prep at all. I work from home, so it's pretty easy for me to make food like when I'm at home, but all my meals look really similar. I have some staples. Eggs, super quick, super easy to make. If you're on the road, you can pretty much get hard-boiled eggs from like any grocery store. White rice, ground beef, you can meal prep those pretty easily. Sweet potatoes. I do a lot of sourdough, butter, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. I love a Greek yogurt bowl. Those are awesome. So yeah, I don't really meal prep, but my meals look pretty much the same. I'm a big advocate of finding like your staple meals, like 5 different meals that you can really nail down, and then learning how to just like change the variety out. So, if I'm making like a ground beef bowl, sometimes I'll do sauteed onions, sometimes I'll do avocado, cheese, grilled peppers, different hot sauces. So I can like incorporate all of those things differently so that the meal tastes, it's unique each time, even though it's kind of like the same core ingredients each time. It just helps me maintain consistency, and I know that the foods that I'm eating are getting me results. So that's what I do. Marathon prep advice. I would say the first thing is like have a plan and follow that plan. If you don't have a plan, it's going to be really hard to know what to do, and it's really easy to lose motivation throughout the training block because it can be pretty long. Like you can be training for, 3 to 6 months, sometimes longer than that. And if you're just kind of winging it, it's not going to go very well. For long runs, if you can find somebody that you can train with, it makes them go by a lot quicker and it's more fun. And then do a lot of active recovery. So sauna, cold plunge, foam rolling. You want to do your absolute best to prevent injury. Like you're going to be putting a lot of miles on your legs. So make sure that you're doing the best to recover, right? Hot yoga is great. And then just in general, stretch more. Like that's always going to be your best friend. Biggest regrets. I don't really have that many regrets. I feel like it's pretty cliche, like most people say that, and it's true because everything I've done has taught me a lesson, has kind of led me to where I'm at. But overall, I would just say like my biggest regret is just not following my gut quicker on a lot of things, like kind of delaying taking action on things that I've really wanted to do, and I was just scared to finally take that leap. Ultimately, I ended up taking the leap on most of those things. But in general, I think I regret the things I don't do more than the things that I've done. There's not really anything I've done where I've been like, dang, I really wish I didn't do that. So hopefully that answers your question. Top 5 favorite books. Actually, hold on. Boom, 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 and boom. All right, so top 5 favorite books. and no particular order. And there might be a couple I'm missing, but these are just the ones that I have. I have a Kindle as well, so there's a lot of books I've read on there. But in the order that I picked them out, the first one is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. This was like one of the first books I read on my own in college. And it's a very easy, very funny read, but very applicable to your life. And just a lot of good principles in here. So I'd recommend this one. Like I said, it's an easy read. The Alchemist. This was a book that I was forced to read in high school that I genuinely enjoyed, and then ended up coming back to it twice after high school. And especially like if you're thinking about taking a new path and thinking about starting something new, or just like following that gut feeling, this is the book for you. The Four Agreements. I read this one basically once a year. You could read it like in a day if you really wanted to. But 4 very simple rules to live your life by that if you do apply, just make your life a lot better and less stressful. Atomic Habits. This is a classic, one of the like highest rated books on Amazon, I think. And this is a book that like when you read it, you wish you would have read it 10 years ago, because you realize how much of a difference tiny decisions and actions on a day-to-day basis make over a really long time horizon. So give that one a go. And then this one's iffy. This is Think and Grow Rich. And the reason I say it's iffy is because I only read, 2-page 52. So I read the first 50 pages and I understood what it was trying to say. I put the book down, I stopped reading it, and I was able to apply the principles to my life. So maybe I'll one day actually go back and reread this and finish it. But I read this in college right before I graduated, and it had a massive impact on me. I think, again, the principles in it are solid, and more people need to understand the concepts in this book. So those are the 5 books that I'm picking for you right now. Okay, next up, favorite fitness influencers. The first one that comes to mind is Christian Guzman. He was like one of the first fitness influencers I really started following, and I followed him from when he kind of started his whole like brand and company. I was watching him back in college, so it's been cool to see him grow his business. He owns Alphalete. He's built a gym. He's built a lot of other successful companies. And then he has like this group of friends around him that have also been really successful. And he's kind of the one that was like the leader of that pack. And it's been cool to see like the ripple effect he's had on his friends. Other fitness influencers I really like, Devin LeVake. Dude's an absolute savage. I look up to him a lot. Does a really good job of living his life with intention and balancing the things that he really enjoys and kind of incorporating that into his lifestyle. So, Devin, Christian. Alfie Robinson, he's also really cool. He's an Australian dude. He started doing 75 Hard and then kind of just blew up his brand. He also is just like absolutely shredded, cool guy. Joe Delaney, he is another like OG fitness influencer that's really, really cool. Very down to earth. He makes cool YouTube videos, good storyteller, and also just absolutely shredded. He's kind of like the physique that I really admired when I was younger and wanted to look like, and that's kind of who I shaped my physique after. So those are the guys that come to mind, but I'm not like huge into the fitness influencer scene. I don't follow a bunch of influencers. Any advice on changing your environment to spark drive, excitement, etc. if stuck? Biggest piece of advice, hands down, is to go travel, right? Don't just get out of your hometown, like get out of your country. Go experience different cultures, see how other people live their life, get outside your bubble, be somewhere where people don't even speak your language and you can't understand the conversations next to you, because it's gonna force you to use different parts of your brain. It's gonna force you to think differently. It's gonna inspire you seeing the way that other people live. I've been super lucky and blessed to be able to travel a lot when I was younger. I studied abroad when I was in college. After college, I traveled around a lot. It's one of the favorite things, or one of my favorite things that I do. And it's like the best investment you can ever make. I never, ever regret spending money on a vacation or being like, I wish I didn't spend that much when I was there. I never even think about the money. It's all about the experiences. And then there's like a return on investment. There's a return on investment that you get from like thinking about the memories and reliving those. So I would say go travel if you're lacking, drive or excitement. Current supplement stack. Curious how you go about testing new supplements. Right now, I've kind of like dialed it back a lot to just the things that really move the needle. For me, that's creatine, vitamin D, beef organs, and Tonga Ali. Those are like kind of the 4 that I rock with. Every now and then I'll mix in some other stuff like vitamin D, magnesium. Oh yeah, Shilajit. I take that like every day. But yeah, I'm always kind of down to test out other supplements. I just make sure that the supplements that I'm taking are actually going to have like a big effect. They're going to move the needle. They're not just like very minuscule effect. Otherwise, I think it's kind of pointless. I think there's other things that you can focus on, like your diet, your overall lifestyle, lowering stress levels, that will actually make a difference. So in terms of like testing new supplements, again, I just like look to see what are the most impactful, and then I start taking them, see if I notice any difference, see what the changes are, and if I think it's worth taking them for a longer period of time. I also do blood work so I can see what my deficiencies are and what I might need to actually supplement with into my my supplement stack. So if you haven't gotten blood work done, definitely recommend doing that. How do you and your clients bulk/cut almost perfectly without tracking calories? So this is a good question, right? And it's going to be kind of hard to answer like just in this video because it's a little bit more complicated, but essentially to break it down very simply, there's a couple of things that you can do that make it very, very simple. The first is start eating more whole foods. Like eliminate as much processed food from your diet as you can, because whole foods are going to make you feel more satiated. They have more micronutrients. And so as a result, you'll be eating less junk food, and as a result, less calories. So that helps a lot with cutting. Weighing yourself every single day, that makes a huge difference because you're then more aware of how what you're doing on a day-to-day basis in terms of what you're eating, as well as the movement that you're doing every single day, impacts your weight. Progress pictures every single week so you can see the change in your physique, because sometimes the scale won't change. You might be lowering your body fat, but you're increasing your muscle mass. So the scale will stay the same, but your physique is changing. So I'd recommend weighing yourself every single day, but taking a progress picture once a week, because if you take a progress picture every single day, there's not that much of a change that can happen. So you want to look at it on a week-to-week basis, but it's the opposite with weighing yourself. You want to weigh yourself every single day. And then the last thing is, I would say, just like make sure that you're getting enough protein. Fill up on protein first, then add in a healthy amount of, or make a healthy combination of fats and carbs. And you'll start to begin to have like this autopilot. You'll intuitively know what to eat, how much to eat, based off these factors, how it affects your energy, how it affects your weight on the scale, and most importantly, how it affects your physique. But it's not something that's going to happen like overnight. You have to consistently do this and keep track of the data that you're experiencing from the way that you look, what the scale says, and then more importantly, how you feel. At the end of the day, that's how I drive most of my decisions, is how do I feel? Like, I don't care if I'm in a crazy calorie deficit and I'm cutting a ton of weight. If I feel like shit, that's not beneficial to me. I'd rather do it a more sustainable route. What should I be focusing on to better my overall health in college? First thing is diet, next is sleep, and then I'd say the third thing is just like the people you're hanging around. They're gonna have a large impact on the decisions that you make. If you're hanging around people that are, focused on the gym and working out and being healthy, as a byproduct of that, you're probably gonna work out more, you're probably gonna be healthier. I was lucky enough to hang out with people that cared about their health. They were always trying to go outside and do activities, whether that was snowboarding, skiing, going to the park, trail running, or just other random things like that. So by association, I was doing a lot more of that. Tips for muscle gain as a teenager: lift really heavy in the gym. Make sure that you're tracking your weights and that you're getting stronger every single week. Eat a healthy diet. Again, eliminate processed foods. Thoughts on the 80-20 diet? This is actually a great question, and I think the 80-20 diet is stupid, okay? The reason that I think it's stupid is if you treat it like you were being graded in school and you got an 80%, sure, that's like good, you're getting a B, but you're 1% away from getting a C, and a C is average. So if you're taking an 80-20 approach, like you're gonna have a pretty average physique. And so if you don't wanna have an average physique, like you gotta have a better balance. So I like the 90-10 approach, or better yet, the 95-5 approach. So majority of the time, you're gonna be eating whole foods, and then you can sneak in some processed foods here and there that aren't really gonna make a big impact because you're still gonna be getting an A. So overall, the more you can eliminate processed foods from your diet, the better. And then you're gonna just naturally crave whole foods, and whole foods are gonna have the biggest impact on the way that you look, the way that you feel, and your overall health. So the more you can stray closer towards 100, the better. How do you deal with running injuries? This is a good question because I was texting one of my friends today and she was like, I'm going to a wedding and she's going to be there. And I was seeing if she wanted to go on a run, but she's been dealing with some injuries for a while now. And I'm like, oh, what's taking so long? And she's like, oh, I just keep on running. So it's like delaying the process. And I'm like, well, it's kind of the story of every runner. Like, it's really hard to give up running, and most runners just run on injuries, which prolong the healing process. So I would say do your best to be preventative with the injuries. So stretch, strength train, have a proper diet. Don't push yourself too hard. And then if you do get an injury, like, do your absolute best to take adequate amounts of time off. If you need to, I've seen doctors in the past that have helped me rehabilitate the injuries that I have. And that's made a big difference. But overall, I've been really lucky, knock on wood. I haven't had any crazy injuries. How do you or your clients bulk/cut? I already did that one. What would be the biggest piece of advice that you would give to your younger self? I think it goes back to the regret question earlier of like, there's going to be a lot of things that you want to do, and you're going to be held back by the opinions of other people or what will happen, or maybe the fear of failure. And at the end of the day, like, you're not going to care about that. So just go after what you want to go after. And if you're having this feeling, you're having a feeling for a reason. And, you know, go out and test your theories. If you think you should go pursue a certain business, go pursue it. If you want to go, you know, talk to that girl, go talk to that girl. If you want to go on that trip, go on that trip. There's no reason to delay. Like, again, you're only going to regret the things that you don't do, more so than the things that you do. So definitely be the type of person that takes more action than doesn't. What is your favorite part about living in San Diego? I mean, there's a lot of things. I grew up here, so this is what I'm used to, but like, I love being by the beach. I love seeing the sunset over the water every single night. I love the weather year round. I don't like being cold at all. I went to school in Utah where, you know, it snows and there's a true winter, and I did not enjoy that at all. Like, it was fun to go skiing and snowboarding and whatnot, but to have it being snowy and not seeing the sun for like 3, 4, 5 months in a row, it just has a big impact. And I'm like way happier when I'm out in the sun, I'm at the beach. Like, that's my happy zone. And so that's why I live here. People always bring up like the taxes and whatnot. I'm like, hey, listen, at the end of the day, it's about the overall quality of your life. And if you can have a really high quality of life living somewhere else, then go do it. I used to live in Florida by the beach. It's not the same. There's way more humidity. There's no waves there. When you go in the water there in the summer, it's really hot, so it's not refreshing. It's just not the same. Like, California is one of the best places on earth. I've traveled around the world. I've been to places in Europe on the coast. I've been to Bali. I've been to Thailand. And nothing really compares to Southern California. Like, it is the cream of the crop, and there is a reason that so many people live here. So I absolutely love living here. I'm going to live here the rest of my life. Most likely, you know, I'll always have roots here. Maybe I'll have some homes somewhere else, but this is where my heart truly lies. This is where I was born. This is probably close to where I'm going to die. What was the biggest thing that took your physique to the next level? So this is a good question, right? And there's a lot of like little things that I can say made the biggest difference. But I'd say overall, the biggest difference in my physique was just committing to being all in. Like, before, I was kind of taking that 80-20 approach where I'd be kind of consistent, I'd eat kind of well, I'd train kind of hard sometimes, I'd run here and there. But it wasn't until I just put like all of my energy and focus into really being as healthy as I could, being super consistent with my training, eating a lot healthier, taking my training more seriously in terms of the intensity, running more consistently, leveling up my sleep. Like, all of that combined is what really took my physique to the next level. It's not like it was just a food thing or just a training thing. Like, all of those do make differences, but you have to kind of like bring them all together. It's almost like making like cookies from scratch. You have all these ingredients that are super important. If you don't have one of them, the cookies aren't going to turn out the way that they should. And I feel like your physique's the same way. Like, you can do some of the things right, but if you're missing some key components, you're not going to get that desired result that you're looking for. So Be all in. There's a power in being all in, and it's like the biggest game changers. All right, well, that is all for now. I hope you guys appreciated the questions and the answers. I like this. I think I'll do this again in the future. So if you're not already, follow me on Instagram. I'll post one of these and say, hey, I'm doing a YouTube Q&A again, where I can give a longer response than I would on like an Instagram story via text or talking. Because I only have 60 seconds on the stories. So this is a little bit better because I can give more of a long-winded answer. So hope you guys appreciated it, and it helps you guys in your own health journey. But I will see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.